Hi, this is Dr. Mia. I'm going to go through a little bit of my book that I bought at the library. Now, this book is more for gardening, and it's called Herbs Steps to Success, which I have not read too much of. But yeah, my nickname is Dr. Mia. My last name is a little bit long. My clinic is Tower of Health LLC. That's Tower of Health LLC. My website is tower-of-health.com, and I am licensed in Maryland, Oregon, and Washington State. And please excuse the light. I'm backlit, but it is very pretty outside. So this book was purchased at the library. I just wanted to do a little introduction video since I don't have many videos on my channel. I just wanted to do a little bit of an introductory video as far as trying to see, like, play a little game and see what I can remember from the herbs that I learned in medical school. Now, the reason that it's going to be a game, because it'd be funny for you to see how I think. And to see how I think, there's a few other people in the world that think this way. I think in pictures, and I'm very visual. Words, to get through medical school and undergrad and pre-med and like high school and kindergarten, you need to learn to think and communicate in words and written words. And in fact, kindergarten we had sign language. So when I see pictures, I have this visual of, say, for the plants, this medication can be used for ABC, and I'll see maybe someone with bruising, or somebody just got a cut and the blood is bright red. Like, I'll think of different treatments besides basic first aid, homeopathy, botanical medicine, minor surgery. What would be the first thing that you do? What would be the rest of the things that you're going to do? What would be the drug interaction, or drug herb interactions? What is your patient's allergy list and intolerance list, or dislikes? There's a lot of medications that have licorice, and some people don't like, for cheese, don't like the taste of licorice, or some people don't mind, but it's not their favorite. So you have to think about what somebody is doing. So on the cover, as you want to see how I think visually, and I also think full circle. So it's like I'll state the subject, and it's like I'll go on a bunch of tangents off of tangents, and then if I don't get nervous about the way my brain thinks, taking too much time to talk about what I want to talk about, I'll have this full circle come around and bring together the story. Now, before I look at the pictures, because I'm just thinking visually, it's a little bit of a game. There's two instances, and part of the reason I'm explaining this video, I have another YouTube channel that I started, and it was showing the path from me going from redoing and starting some undergrad classes for pre-med, and taking that to naturopathic graduate school, currently called NUNM in Portland, Oregon, and thinking about these two people, or these two groups, or these two things that helped me explain it. I was a volunteer board member for a nonprofit, and we did a training for nonprofits, rural nonprofits to be specific. We did trainings, I should say, and we worked with, I don't have the booklet with me, I'm sorry. That's my visual thinking of, like, we worked with whichever group does the Oregon, Clackamas County trainings. There was a man who had, the giant sticky board, sticky notes, and he had mentioned that he was going to explain something to us and that this is what he was going to talk about. And he goes, I know, you guys are going to, I wonder some of what I'm saying, what does it have to do with anything? And he's like, but I'll bring it full circle. And when I saw this man, I said, I don't know, but his brain and my brain there's something similar going on. And I would often be told that I'm thinking incorrectly, I'm studying incorrectly, I'm doing this incorrectly, I'm cleaning incorrectly, I'm cooking something incorrectly. It's like, well, everyone ate the food, the house got clean, I studied, I passed and did well in all my classes. It's like, what is wrong? That other person didn't like it. So the reason I say that too is you can put a glass ceiling on yourself where you don't try something, or you don't follow through with something, or you feel like only the people that do it this way. If you're playing a game like soccer or you're running a medical clinic, you have to follow the rules. Don't get me wrong. But if you you do a little dance before you kick the soccer ball, that's your thing. That's your little quirky thing. The second I trained at OHSU, I shadowed part of my training for midwifery, naturopathic midwifery. I shadowed at OHSU, and I saw in the operating room cerclages being performed on early labor, very early labor, where you take an opening up of the cervix and you take sutures, and I describe it as a purse that you make. As you have a big piece of cloth, you put holes in it and you put little strings, individual strings on each hole. But in the end, you don't just pull the strings up together. Somehow you pull the strings up and then you stitch it. And then it's like you're bringing it all together. So you're doing all these little things that seem like they go together, but they don't seem to go together. But at the end, it's exactly what you want. And at the top, everything is right. For the purse, it's right because then your coins don't fall out. For the baby, it's right because the baby doesn't fall out. So when I think of this picture, to start with, it is the chive onion. My mother had these next to our outside garage. Here's some culinary herbs, it looks like, and I can't tell. I believe that, I don't know if that's lavender or if it's rosemary. It might be. I think it's rosemary. It's hard for me to see it. So I'm thinking of the fact that I don't have any chives, rosemary, lavender, basil, thyme, that I have a container garden out here. I have a container garden at my home base. I don't have any herbs, culinary herbs. The big thing, I'm just going to say the big thing about something, and if I explain in more detail, it'll be a continuation, like a different video, because I could go on and on and on. Those tangents are real, though. It's not just the way that I purposely try to explain things. So I would think, first thing that comes to mind is stomach, digestion. I call it aromatic mint, smells really good. The culinary herbs, thyme and sage, it smells very good. And there's chemical properties that have a medicinal effect, and some of it is to affect your stomach and to help soothe your stomach. So you can get teas pre-made at stores, regular stores, health food stores. You can order, I'm not sure, at the NUNM Medicinary, you can get your doctor to order a mixture of herbs that you can turn into a tea. Now, I haven't checked their website since the stay-at-home order, and I would like to do that today. This brings to mind bitter garden vegetables. The lettuces. It's amazing, some of the little lettuce, different types of lettuce besides romaine, kind of has that sweet taste when you don't have any salt, no dressing, no oil on it. But you eat some of the smaller, like baby lettuces, different things have that bitterness, and you're like, wow, it tastes so different when I have cheese or salt, salad dressing, croutons. Like, even if you don't have that, carrots, tomato, cucumber. It brings the flavor through, but sometimes you eat it and it's bitter. That also affects the digestive system, and you can get a thing that stimulates your digestion. The bitters will help, to get everything started. So when you're eating something heavier, your body's sending out, enzymes and different ways to stimulate. This might be different now during COVID. There's a lot of people that are at home more than just their winter break, like a teacher who has kids. They're home for winter break for 3 weeks. It seems like forever when you're with your kids, but it's like 3 weeks, 3 months. It won't be 3 years. But people are making food at home. They bought the yeast up. They're making stuff from scratch, buying bread makers. There's another thing besides something you ingest already. Smelling the food being prepared. I'm a raw foodist. I have a dehydrator that I'm borrowing. I have other foods. Smelling that, cutting open some fruit, smelling a chicken baking in the oven. That also helps your digestive enzymes, your saliva. Every part of the process is not an accident. It's a part of getting the nutrients out of what you are ingesting. Besides the flavor and the texture and the fact that it raises your endorphins, the nutritional content needs to be absorbed, and any toxins or excess needs to be removed. And your body has the intelligence to do that, but we're not eating as, say, just the caveman type diet, maybe hunting, gathering, where there's no chemicals, no preservatives, no freezing and thawing and switching things. There's some people that won't do one foraged vegetable, one foraged berry at a time. They won't mix foods. We do have different digestive enzymes that do fats or proteins or carbs. Alright, so showing this page of the book, I know it's not that easy to see. I did say what book it is, DK Herbs. And I said I hadn't really read it, and it's totally like some of the plants in here are not, I didn't really consider as herbs. So now I'm learning more. It made me pick up the book and actually look at it. Slowed down a day enough to look at that. So they have the potted plants, the basils, lavenders, and then non-culinary herbs. They have the echinacea, so Melissa, and then the witch hazel. So this is good for me right here. This is one of my favorites, and I didn't know what it looked like offhand. The Melissa doesn't look like the kind that I have. This is the Aria version. So let's see. I do have. Sometimes it's fun to look around my own house and see what I have. So to start. Oh, there's aloe also. I don't have aloe here. I do have aloe juice. I want to make my own hand sanitizer. So here's. I like the spray better. My daughter started using this years ago, but it's all over Target right now at different sizes and on the end caps. So they're really loving to sell this. I'm sure this company. Let me just grab this whole container. There's not much in here. Most of my things are in my other 2 bags. Let me go ahead and set this on the floor. Make sure the top is closed. So this is a facial toner. So witch hazel, Hamelis virginiana it tones. People have hemorrhoids or varicose veins or pores. There's different reasons. Preparation H has the H for Hamelis virginiana. Witch hazel, people would call people that worked with herbs and plant medicine and making things in their own house as witches sometimes. And I don't know the exact reason why it's called witch hazel. but it's a name that if you talk to someone who doesn't recognize what that is, they think that you're doing. I recently talked to someone about getting this, and they were like, "Oh, you're into that witchcraft stuff." Like, I'm not into that. I'm like, we're going to Target, or we're in Target, and they have this, and it's an astringent. The reason my child likes this, and there's a lot of ingredients in here. A lot of witch hazel that you get over the counter is mixed with alcohol, and this one is not. It just have water and glycerin, and then the organic witch hazel, and then aloe, and a few other ingredients. I literally like only 4 other ingredients, which is pretty simple. I was talking about thyme. So thyme, this was not cheap. I don't even know if you can find the thyme oil. I don't even believe. Let's see if I opened it. If I didn't, I'll open it now. I didn't open it yet, so let's open it and see how strong it is. There was a spray, hand sanitizer. It's definitely strong, and it's in a green and white package. I have some in my car. My car's not here, and it's probably very old. The Cleanwell brand, and you need to look and see what microorganisms it's supposed to eliminate, because there's things, commercial or rubbing alcohol, that they'll actually list it. So you'd have to look at that. But I wanted to take thyme oil, a carrier oil, which all of that is in a different bag over there. I can get that too, since I know where it is. It's just the grease bag. I didn't want to mess with it because it literally. In fact, let's change the bag out. Let's see, this bag is a little bit. Let's just take them out of the bag. I'm looking for my smaller bags. I might not be able to take it out of the bag because it's greasy on the outside and the inside. I accidentally left the bottle open, and it's, you know how that happens. I think I had it in the bag, and the bottle open in my medical bag, and it's just a mess. I can get a paper towel, though. You'll see me using paper towels and different things. I do recycle, and I do use reusable containers, but I switch it up because you have to think about the water and the resources you use to wash stuff, and I reuse bags and bottles. I refill my bottles and stuff because I don't have it. So I have the sweet almond oil, and this is from Rite Aid. I'm in a small town right now. I was supposed to go back to the city, but because of COVID, I'm not. So if anyone has almond or nut allergies, they wouldn't want to use that. There's the jojoba, which I haven't seen in a while. There's the what is the one? Starts with an A. Argan oil. Those are carrier oils. I don't have vitamin E, which I was riding in the car one day and I said, "Oh no, I don't have the vitamin E." I do have some juice, aloe juice, I was going to mix and make. I don't know if I was going to use rubbing alcohol, but I was a little bit concerned because it's a shelf-stable big bottle of juice, and it's got a lot of ingredients. So I'm going to have someone drink the juice, like look at the refrigerator life. It's right now not in the refrigerator. I need to rub some on my skin and maybe a little on my face and my leg to see if I have an allergy to anything in it. Because if that's the case, I'm not going to mix my oils and put them in. Let me show you. I do have one spray bottle. This is probably good because I had it in an area that something dripped. I got this at Target before when people started buying up all the hand sanitizers and everything, so I said I'm going to make a hand sanitizer, but I'm not at my home base, so I don't have all of my materials. So that's a spray bottle. I miss my clean well. Couldn't find that anywhere online, or I got the wipes, which are in the car. The car that I'm using here is different than the car that I have in the home base. I should probably get those out and use them. Just let myself use them because they're gonna dry out. That's the problem. The wipes are huge. Be careful. I cut some in half. I have some in here. I cut some in half and put them in a baggie. Can you believe that? It's ridiculous. They dried out, of course. They're not in a regular Ziploc bag. They're in a volume bag with the zipper. That's like a zipper instead of just pinching it, which I feel is more airtight. That's just my opinion. So I also have a cosmetics jar. This was a little bit of an impulse buy, but I was using when I use chemicals, including things with alcohol, I'll have the tips of my nails or beneath my nails will start to split. And anytime you need to wear gloves, that makes it way worse. You have food service, you have healthcare, you have any other reason you need gloves on. Disposable or non-disposable. I don't like how the chemicals eat at my hands, and if it's disposable gloves, I have chemical sensitivities and I live in this world, so I don't abstain from touching all chemicals. So I thought maybe I'll keep using the hand sanitizer since I don't have the herbal one. I spent 20 minutes in Whole Foods a few months ago looking at every hand sanitizer looking for Cleanwell, and I didn't buy any. Because I'm not going to pay a bunch of money. This is kind of just like the name brand hand sanitizers, but it's super expensive. It's organic oil or organic alcohol. This, what does it matter? And then, of course, a couple weeks go by, you go back, and every shelf has been empty ever since. And I had read somewhere, don't quote me on that someone said that it may be a little less harsh for the skin, those ingredients. And but I don't have any reference right now that I can give you, but that is an idea I want to look into and see if I want, besides making my own, order some of them. I could have easily gotten that and had that anyways. So I thought put some coconut oil in here and mix it with thyme, because I was wondering, you have nice clothes on, so if you don't want to be in the car after you go to the store and then dip your dirty hand into this and then start mixing that and then accidentally get oil on your clothes. But at the same time, you want to save your hands. You could be careful. You can use just a little dab. You could use it maybe before bed. I haven't made it yet, so it also depends the consistency. I don't eat a vegan diet, but I do wear leather, and I do eat bee pollen and propolis and honey. I have a propolis royal jelly. I'm not vegan, I believe. I'm not, because I do honey and bee products. I tried to quit and it was very difficult. So I do have at my home base a lot of bee product, beeswax little granules. They're actually clear. I was surprised they weren't yellow. We did have a couple beeswax candles there too. But it's kind of one of those things where I haven't quite done anything, but I hope my child did, where I'd take a double boiler, mix some oils, mix some wax and your essential oils, and see what happens. You can get blank molds for lip balm and glass containers and plastic containers like the one I showed you. So let's see what else is in this greasy container. I'll probably just throw the bag because it's greasy on the inside and out. So I did have allergic reaction. I got a salad bar, no dressing, no cheese, nothing cooked. And I saw something white in one of the vegetables, and I had seen the grabber with the tongs, and there was nothing that I could see on the tongs, and I went over to the other side of the dish and I put that salad in my bowl. And sometimes I'll see something like that. I was like, no, I'm not going to eat it. I'm have a corn allergy, different. I was like, it might be something that fell into that I don't want. And I'm not positive if it's that salad. I had eaten the salad. I had brought it home. I think I forgot about it. And the next day I ate it in the evening. And within 30 minutes, I started getting a rash. And then I started getting hives. And then I started getting a head to toe rash. Then I started getting extreme swelling. Like my fingers were twice as big. It was right before Thanksgiving, or was it Christmas? And I said, oh my gosh, I had this happen before. I ate a salad and soup at a Thai restaurant once with peanuts. I got peanut sauce for the salad, I guess. And I asked for the ingredients of everything. I don't think I asked for the peanut sauce. And I had a similar reaction for about 10 days. It was different because I had internal bleeding. But I had the head to toe rash. It didn't swell as much on the outside of my skin, but it did inside. And I said, oh my gosh, I think it was from my food. I also had eaten or drank something different that day. I can't remember what that is. So the salad bars are closed where I am, last time I checked. So I had wanted to get this before the holidays, hydrocortisone cream with calendula. And this was also at Rite Aid. I spent a very long time looking for, not Eucerin, I'll think of it. The one brand name that has like reduced itching. I've never figured out if it works or not. So that one I got, and I typically like to just wait and not do anything, or just put some like lavender essential oil with a base, like just for like good measure. I try to put something on. I ended up, because it was a holiday, I didn't know who would close and when. And if I didn't want to be up in the middle of the night saying, oh my gosh, it's a holiday night and there's no stores open, it's a small town, and I can't sleep. Like the swelling, my feet, my toes, my hands, my body was inflamed. So I actually got the Gold Bond lidocaine because I thought, I don't even know. It's hard to remember, but I remember I was miserable. And then I do have tea tree oil in here. And definitely all needs to be cleaned off. And so that was basically antimicrobial. It should be, I don't think I opened the carrier oil. I bought the sweet almond oil there too. I couldn't find jojoba. I was in the section with the lidocaine, the medications. They did have the essential oils. And the lotions I was actually looking for are CeraVe. I was looking for CeraVe. That's what I was going to get. And they didn't have the anti-itch. They had something else. So I ended up just getting these. And then the sandalwood. This is not, I must have brought that on an airplane. That's not my favorite. It's not necessarily my favorite. My favorite sandalwood, I believe, is the Ara Cassia, mixed with something else. Mixed with a carrier, not another essential oil. So I wanna talk about Melissa, and then we'll give my disclaimer. So this is just to test my mind, to see how I utilize herbs for patients. I do have those containers in my home base, in my home office, where I will make skin creams for patients. It's just something I really like, and I don't even really remember doing that too much in med school. Tinctures, yes. Like the hands-on of making an herbal mixture, we didn't really get that. I think like we had to go in to the clinic medicinary and shadow someone, but we didn't really like get to look at ourselves. Like we had done a flower essence and different things, but it was pretty much, this is a demonstration, you're going to mix this or this, put it in a bottle, and you go home today. Like, like when you're in kindergarten, you make something for your parents. So I got to utilize that. I did get to utilize it in my mind with patients in med school when I charted their prescription for our medicinary, or such as this cream. You can get hydrocortisone that's not with calendula and essential oils and different carriers with more chemicals and fragrances and different things. But we did use the compounding pharmacy as well, where you can choose your base, whether it's an oil, a cream. You can choose your base. I don't know what they do about like adding the preservative, like vitamin E. you can choose, like, if you wanted to mix together, say, topical hormones, different things like that. That is a little bit, that's a different story, but it's a little bit harder now to compound things. Things keep changing. We learned so much in naturopathic medical school about pharmacology and botanical medicine and homeopathy and like prescribing hormones and all these different things. And I feel like every year it's like I can do less and less with my degree. And you have the training as a medical doctor where we can do referrals and imaging and medications. A lot of places don't, or the insurance won't cover you, and so you have all this knowledge and you have the naturopathic knowledge. They're trying to shrink down what you can do. The government is like, oh, we don't want, these people doing that anymore. But then it's like you're not able to work in a clinic where they hire MDs or DOs or nurse practitioners or PAs, and you're not allowed to work in a hospital, and you don't have the finances to set up like a clinic like theirs across the street where you can utilize the things that you know how to do, and it becomes a financial issue for some of us. I also have, this was at the Goodwill right before our county, I guess our whole state had shut down. They had a whole lot of these. It smells so good. I got sandalwood made in Australia. I almost wish I had gotten more. It just smells so good. Our state is open. The Goodwill has been closed the last week, but they might be open today. You don't know. Made with palm oil and shea butter, triple French milled sandalwood. So I want to see if it dries my skin. I had gotten some soap from some patients. And one thing about being in my clinic as a naturopath, I can get the product for me and my kids and try it out, or get like a multi-pack and say I'm going to give it to my patient, and that's kind of weird to just give something away. But I'll use like one bar of soap I use, and then the other, it dried my skin out so badly. I'm like, this would be like for once in a while washing of the hands or something, like once in a while, but the face and the skin, like, it was very drying. It smelled so good, and it was made of, on the outside, of something that I liked. So the last thing I wanted to mention was going back to the Melissa. One of my teachers, Glenn Nagel, had a child that would get hyper at bedtime, and he had gotten an essential oil diffuser where he had the Melissa, or the lemon balm oil, for his child to calm down before bed. And I decided, my son had trouble sleeping, so I decided to get him some oil. Now you see these, even this one, this big bottle. It was like a bottle like this short and this round and not even full. And I ordered that, and it was like $37. I think I had a student discount for it. And I was like, I need the smallest amount you could put in. And I decided to test it on myself. And I smelled it, and it was pretty strong. Not bad strong, not like ooh, but it was just like an awkward, like a smell that I hadn't really smelled. And I went to put it on my essential oil, drop it, I don't think they couldn't put a dropper on it, so I was trying to get like one drop, and I stuck it there, and I was messing around with something because I had the little screen with the pad that I need to drip the oil and then stick that into the diffuser, and I spilled that little $37 bottle. We still have that in the house. There's probably not much left, and it's been in there. I don't even know if it smells good anymore, but I was so amazed. Of course, like, that happens. Like, of all the essential oils I had over the years, especially the ones with top droppers, they didn't spill. And if they did, they never cost that much. So I decided, I remember distilling oil, clove oil, I think, and organic chemistry, and I said, what if I got a distiller? So there's been a distiller in my cart in Amazon or eBay, I think, for years, like over 10 years. And I thought, I'm going to get some Melissa officinalis, the lemon balm seeds. So at the house on the West Coast, there's a few flower pots that get covered with ivy frequently that I did for my son. And I said, this is my son's plant. Like, he can drink tea, or I don't have the distiller. I didn't want to buy it. I didn't have a place to set it up. I was a little like, I didn't have the resource to set up a lab, but I thought this would be cool to extract, to grow, to take these plants when I get my property that I own and my little she shed, and I could set up my little chemistry thing and follow the directions. I still have my lab manuals and extract the oil, but I would need a whole lot of lemon balm. And so I thought, let's give it a shot. I'm not one who always starts plants from seed, so that's another big deal for me. And so this book, my memory served me wrong, by the way, thinking as a visual. I didn't exactly know that it was herbs. I flipped through this book one or two times. I knew it had a lot of garden things and a lot of like landscaping, how to make it look nice and how to trim things. And is this I thought that was belladonna. Oh yeah, it's like in the back, some phytum and thyme. And so this is let me tell you who the author is, so I'm not trying to get a copyright issue. This is William Denne, page 135. There's more than one type of thyme. I'll read the middle one. Thymus coccineus group, mat forming with trailing stems, covered in fairly finely haired small leaves. Its attractive crimson pink flowers are attractive to bees. Deadheading can be tricky and is more easily done using kitchen scissors. Propagate from cuttings in late summer. There's thyme officinalis, aromatic, culinary, traditional culinary, medicinal thyme. So that's the one that I didn't see that earlier. So I had to learn about this book, how it's set up. So I'm disappointed in my memory, but I'm actually excited that this actually is an herb book. It's got verbena. I cannot say some of the words. We call it something else. Oh my gosh. So ginger. More time. There's like 2.5 pages of time. So there's a lot of naturopaths that own their own land, and they are able to. Dill. They are able to grow this. I did sell. I didn't sell. My kids were doing a fundraiser, so we would buy herbs and plants from the school, and they were the most fantastic. Like, if I could get an order for my kids right now, I might not survive, but I had sold some to one couple. They were either acupuncture and or naturopaths. They lived in a high-rise apartment, and the woman had gotten the patio plants, and she planted marigolds. I think I usually always get marigolds every year. And she said, oh my gosh, I felt so grounded, like working with the dirt and planting those plants. It was beautiful. It made her deck. She bought a lot of them. I bought a lot of marigolds before. Like, where am I going to put these out? Have enough money to buy more flower pots. But I was trying to also pair them with kale to keep the moths and the caterpillar, the white moths and their babies eat kale. You could put pantyhose on it. I didn't get that far. I did come out one day and see the entire plant completely eaten at one time. Another friend had a nice big lot in Washington State, a nice big yard, and she did plant some of the herbs. Did she have lemon balm, I wonder? Maybe it was a start. I think I have the seeds too. It's hard to remember now. And she did say that it spread and it was starting to go in a neighbor's yard, and she yelled at me like a year or two later. And I do container gardening. I hadn't grown these things. My mom had mint by the lake and this and asparagus, and she did not maintain it. She did plant marigolds every year that I could remember. She did not have any other type of, actually she did have a vegetable garden. My mom liked vegetables, my dad liked trees. He put his nursery temporarily in her vegetable garden and never took his tree nursery out. It's still there, last I heard. Last I saw. So I barely remember that, because as a little kid, when you go down to the third level to the lake, it's like I hardly was outside with my mother, and if I was, that was what that was. So that was the book that I have, feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I get greedy. I want to grow all of those things. Like, what would I really use? How would I use it? Would I make teas? I don't personally use alcohol, so I don't personally use tinctures. I don't know how to make glycerites. I believe you can get the ingredients just like you would with um, tinctures, but in school you would take some classes where they teach you how to do tinctures. You could take electives to learn even more, and take them long, for 12 weeks, so you can actually make a few items. But I didn't do that. We did use a lot of tinctures in class for testing and learning and in clinic. So I did as many as I could, which I was going to say was the herb mixtures. And we did plenty of herb mixtures in class. But I noticed in clinic a lot of the students wanted a pre-made supplement product mixture, or there's one called Lavella that I want to look into actually, because I want to see the ingredients. I had one student that loved using Lavella on patients, and I believe that it was she just felt so nice after that. So my disclaimer is this: I am a doctor. You can look on my website. I will update the times for appointments. I'm doing telehealth in Washington, for Washington State, Maryland, and Oregon. I will do telephone health. I will do in-person visits. Right now, I am temporarily on the East Coast. I would be able to use some PPE for in-person visits. I can do the COVID-19 testing and order lab tests. I could do blood tests for you and urine samples for you. I can order some ZRT, some hormone testing, and some other kits that you can do at home, stool samples and different things. I can order that for you. And I'm doing the paperwork to set up the lab, the CLIA Wave lab, which is lab tests that I could do in office, so that you have real-time results or quick results depending on how long something needs to sit, or centrifuge. And I also, so Oregon and Washington, the trip back there had been postponed. I was supposed to be there now, and it's postponed because of COVID, not wanting to travel, wondering, flights used to be $100, nobody was flying, people get the plane to themselves, that sounds kind of creepy. But what's more creepy, being on a plane, like, what if something happens? They might not care if we crash because there's only one person, or then I have like an overcrowded plane, and I'm sure the prices aren't necessarily that cheap. So with that, I'm going to share with you briefly one other, it's not a naturopathic or medical. There is a couple on YouTube called Leave Everything and Wander is their channel. Lua. They're from Italy, and for some reason there's a refreshing way to look at the pandemic, travel. I've only watched the videos since they've been in South America. They started up close to the Arctic Circle and made their way south to try to go from one side of the world to the as far south as they could in a Ford RV camper truck. And for some reason it crossed my mind to share that. Lua, Leaw, Leave Everything and Wander, just to show. I watched a few of their videos. I cried through some of the videos. They made it back home and everything. But to see some of the ups and downs and the footwork they had to do and take care of their health and be away from family and be with the government, having blocks on roads and every airline, it's amazing. And I think before the country, the world really shut down, I watched them travel like just a couple of times, like, who are these people? And I would say, they're lucky, they must have a lot of money to travel, their YouTube channel must make them a lot of money. But it was just like seeing them live in a very small space together and what they did. So I wanted to share that because I'm gonna go back and start watching the early ones and really see what these people do. And if people can learn to make some money online, or like I talked about container gardening, even if you did. So the point is, it's like a stressful time. What is your plan? Get back to work. Are you working from home? Are you working from home? Like me, do you run a clinic? Are you stuck away from your home base? Do you still go to your job every day? do other people around you go to a job and get unemployment plus $600 a week that you can't get? Like, there's all these different factors and stressors, and children and people have young adults that want to hang out with their friends and their intimate partners, but the household leaders don't want them bringing those germs back. There's a lot of different scenarios. But did you have a chance to think about your life? Do you want to travel? I want to travel. I'm getting older and older. I didn't have the money to travel. Somebody told me, just plan a trip and do it. What if I said I want to go to Kathmandu, which is a goal of mine, but what if I just go outside right now and take a walk around the yard, or take a walk down the block, or get in the car and go into one of the walking trails? I mean, it's not Kathmandu, but it's something, and it allows you to have a different perception. You're not looking at the same room, the same view out your window, even though it's nice to have the window open and see the different changes with the trees. But it's like, do you want to work? Some people can work and live in an RV and travel, or they're in IT and they go from place to place around the country, but they own a house that they rent out. I just wanted to throw that out there as a way to kind of scratch the surface and try to release dreams, goals. Maybe you're older and you want to have kids and your career is in the way. Maybe you're at home, maybe you're not at home, but it's something to think about. Life and death, Maybe you're younger and you want to have kids, but you don't have a partner, and you see everyone doing online dating and what's it like right now. So the disclaimer is, I am a naturopathic medical doctor, which I do have to say for Maryland's and Oregon and Washington. I can say that, or that I'm a physician. I do have some extra training in geriatrics and midwifery, but as far as my regular practice and what I've been doing for 5 years has been like family healthcare, general practice. So anything, if you want to hire me or do a consult with me for 15 minutes free, that would be sign up on my website, call the number tower-of-health.com. Anything you need to talk about as far as learning more about herbs, find a reputable source, hire a practitioner, talk to your general practitioner, talk to an herbalist, someone that can give you the correct information, because the stuff has been around for a long time and it can be very strong and it can affect how medications you're already on or how your body works. It needs to be monitored. So you need to talk to your healthcare practitioner about any medical concerns you have. And with that, please like and comment, and I will be back soon to talk a little bit more about herbs and what happened when I mixed the products that I said I was going to mix, and thinking of not continuing hand hygiene. I also want to share about what ingredients I use and how that makes my skin feel, and what I would do different, or like I told you, I wanted to add vitamin E. Like, what would I do differently? So that hopefully will be in the near future. May you be in good health.